The USS Abraham Lincoln's extended deployment in the Middle East is coming under growing scrutiny, with reports raising concerns over the conditions faced by sailors aboard the carrier. The U.S. aircraft carrier has reportedly remained deployed for more than 240 days, putting thousands of sailors and Marines through a deployment that has stretched far beyond its originally planned timeline. Reports suggest some crew members have raised concerns about basic supplies, water contamination, and plumbing problems aboard the ship. Other complaints reportedly involve deck safety and worsening mental health conditions among personnel who have spent months away from home. The USS Abraham Lincoln was initially scheduled to return home in May. But that timeline was disrupted by the escalating regional conflict, including the war between the United States and Iran. More than 5,000 personnel have reportedly been involved in the deployment, with sailors and Marines serving in the region since November. As the deployment continued to stretch on, concerns about the physical and psychological condition of the crew began attracting greater attention. However, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has strongly pushed back against reports portraying conditions aboard the carrier as deteriorating. Hegseth has called the reports completely misrepresented. The Defense Secretary defended the conditions aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln and said the crew continues to receive full support. He also praised the sailors serving through difficult conditions, emphasizing that some military deployments naturally last much longer than expected. Hegseth pointed to the demands faced by service members operating at sea and praised the crew for continuing to carry out its mission despite the prolonged deployment. But those assurances have not ended the political scrutiny. Connecticut Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal has raised serious concerns over the length of the carrier's deployment. Blumenthal, who serves on the Senate Armed Services Committee, has written to Hegseth questioning the circumstances surrounding the extended mission. His concerns focus not only on the duration of the deployment, but also on reports describing problems allegedly affecting sailors aboard the ship. The controversy comes at a critical moment for the U.S. Navy. The USS Abraham Lincoln has now spent months operating in the Middle East, far beyond the schedule that was originally expected. And while the carrier remains operational, questions are growing over how long the deployment can continue and what impact the prolonged mission could have on the crew. Meanwhile, another U.S. aircraft carrier is moving toward the region. The USS George Washington is heading toward the Middle East and is expected to replace the USS Abraham Lincoln as part of a previously planned rotation. The replacement could eventually provide relief for the Lincoln's crew, but it does not immediately resolve questions surrounding the carrier's extended deployment. The arrival of the George Washington also comes as congressional pressure continues to build. For the Pentagon, the challenge is now balancing operational demands in a volatile region with the well-being of thousands of sailors and Marines who have already spent months away from home. The USS Abraham Lincoln has remained a key component of the U.S. military presence in the Middle East. But its prolonged deployment has created an increasingly difficult situation. On one side, military officials argue that the crew is supported and that extended deployments are sometimes unavoidable during periods of conflict. On the other, lawmakers and reports pointing to alleged supply, plumbing, water, and mental health problems are raising questions about whether the human cost of the deployment is becoming too high. The uncertainty now is how much longer the USS Abraham Lincoln will remain in the region. With the USS George Washington moving toward the Middle East, a rotation appears to be approaching. But until the Lincoln's crew finally gets relief, scrutiny over the carrier's record-breaking deployment is likely to continue. The debate is no longer simply about where the carrier is deployed. It is increasingly about how long thousands of American sailors can be expected to remain at sea, and whether the conditions they face are receiving the attention they deserve. As the U.S. military continues operations amid tensions in the Middle East, the USS Abraham Lincoln remains at the center of that debate.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to Mirror Now.